Well. Guess who's back? After a long hiatus, Chuck the Heat's back in the game. Well, I just fucking suck. I don't, it's hard for me to keep up with this stuff, and I say it's hard, but really it's just laziness. Every day I try to do things, in my life and take care of the baby and play games, and I like to relax. I don't get much time to relax on certain days, so I try to take advantage of it. But I gotta get on the ball, especially if I want to evolve this into something bigger. The ideas in my head that I want to get out there and do, I gotta get on the ball. So hopefully I can keep up with this and then start my other stuff too. Next week I'm going to be starting to simple things as changing up my Instagram and building a Facebook page and building an Instagram page for right now, which I dubbed Chocolate Gaming. So hopefully you look forward to that. But yeah, welcome back. This is episode 15 of Chocolate Cake. I've been gone for a while. I'm your host, Antonio Q. Tomasello, aka Chocolate Heat, and I'm here to give you a slice of chocolate cake. And again, Chocolate Cake is a podcast dedicated to the ideas, my mindset, how I think about things, which I form into it's not physical, but mental slice of cake, which I then feed to your brain. So for today's episode, I've been looking into something that I'm curious about, and something that throughout the years have been, I don't know how to say it, but I've been in that scenario. But yeah, let's just get into it. Episode 15 today is called when did it become cool to be a nerd? And I'll start this off as a young age. Now I feel that rappers and regular people, it's feel like it's okay to express things or to do things that it wasn't socially acceptable for years ago. And it's a weird transition over years, which I'm trying to pinpoint and say, where at a point in time in society do these things become okay, or not like they're bad or anything, but just more of the norm. When I was young, a lot of these things were, what I got picked on in school for and all that. So it's such a weird thing of when did it start to become the norm? When I was young and Pokemon was out, and I did a podcast on Pokemon and stuff like that. I love Pokemon. I love Pokemon to death. But when we were getting older, and I think is when we were heading into the end of elementary school into middle school, Pokemon for the younger generation start to fall off. You really weren't supposed to keep on the Pokemon train. And I always told myself, I love Pokemon. Pokemon gave me a lot. I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to keep doing Pokemon stuff. Down the line, I started to get picked on about it, I think in middle school, if anyone caught you with Pokemon cards, it was, you got picked on, you were a nerd, people tried to take cards out of your hands and all that shit. Everybody knows that high school and middle school are very tough times for a kid. It's a make it or break it scenario. It molds you into the human being you are today. So when I got into middle school, I had to either A, stop, having the cards at school, or B, hide them very well. And it became I don't want to say super tough for me, but it became a tough time in my life because I really enjoyed this stuff. I didn't want to let it go, And I'll never forget the day where I had a Pokemon CD I used to listen to all the time on a bus. People always want to come by, hey, what you listen to, Bullies will always try to fuck with you and shit, and, try to take your shit, try to see what you listen to, but, the bus had stopped. We got to school, everyone was getting off, and then I was, wrapping up my stuff, and someone was like, yo, what you listen to? And they snatched the headset. And they were like, what the fuck is this? It was like some Pokemon song or something. And this was the second Pokemon CD I had, so it had some other artists on it, or whatever, singing regular songs, but it was all Pokemon themed. So he snatched it and he was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, nah man, it's just a CD that my sister had, and and luckily most people were off the bus, but he was like, oh, fucking Tony was listening to Pokemon shit. Like, it was such a rough time, and it sounds so stupid now, but when you're a kid, man, dude, it was like fucking everything. It hurt, I was like, yo man, chill the fuck out. But anyway, so with that, I had a change in my life. After that happened, a few other cases happened, and I think someone called me on Pokemon cards. I had a identity change. So when I was in first year of middle school, I had woke up telling myself that, you need to change. And I'll tell you right now, I hated this decision, but at the time I was just like, you need to change what you do. You need to become different. I always said change, become different. Don't be the guy that people are picking on, be the cool guy, be the guy everyone wants to talk to. So I think it was literally that same day that I had and jean jackets were the shit back then. I had a jean jacket. I put that bad boy on, left all my Pokemon shit at the house, went to school, and I started talking different. I started being, cursing more and stuff, trying to be that guy. And there was this girl. What was her name? It's funny, I saw her a few years ago, but it was this girl that she was fine. She, I guess to put it simply, she was developing faster than most girls. So everyone was looking at this girl. Everyone remembers this girl in middle school. So I'm in the lunch line. She comes up in the lunch line behind me. Now I'm not sure what happened or how it initiated, but I think I was grabbing something from somebody. And I reached over her and grabbed it, and she was like, whoa, if you're gonna reach over me, you might as well just hold me or something like that. And for a second I paused and I was like, I don't know, do this. And then I told myself, I said, yo, change, dude, change. Don't be the nerd, change. So I was like, I said something, like something corny and smooth, and then I was like, how about I just hold your waist? So we walked to the lunch line, we walked up to the lunch counter, all that stuff, and everyone was staring at me like, yo, look at Antonio, man, he's the fucking man. Look at what he's doing. He's got that girl on his hips. I'm like, yo, what you doing at school? Just some corny ass shit. And then we finally get to the line, and she goes, she just, all right, I'm done with you. Rolls out. I was like, oh, okay. But I felt like the king in the whole middle school. I was like, y'all motherfuckers see that? And I sat down, and my boy's like, damn son, what was that? And I was like, she trying to be my girl and all that stuff. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is the point in my life where nerd stuff wasn't cool. And I figured if I want to progress in life, if I want to be better, if I want to not have people pick on me, I need to get out of this nerd culture. Once middle school ended, I went to, of course, high school. First year of high school was fun. I was in Alexandria a little bit. But then there was a second year in high school. It was a big thing because I moved schools. I moved to Woodbridge, moved schools. And in this school, I tried to, and it was very early on, create again this image like, yo, I'm the new kid. I'm someone you don't fuck with. I used to fight all the time. Some dumb cover up that I had because I wanted to start off on the right foot. I wanted to say, I'm the shit. I'm not a nerd. I'm cool. Now keep in mind, I still did nerd stuff at home. For the most part by myself, whether it's watching cartoons or some shit like that, But when I went to school, I was like, yo, I'm Antonio. Don't fuck with me. I'm a G around here, And I felt a little unhappy. I felt like, I was giving people short answers to sentences, to act cooler and stuff. And, I would hear people at the lunch table or in the morning talk about things. I would pass a group of people who always were talking about like Yu-Gi-Oh and cartoons, and I always wanted to join in, but I was like, I'm too cool. I'm cool, man. I'm cool now. Like I can't go back to that, you know. But I felt bad. I felt like I became something that I saw when I was young that I didn't want to be. When I was really young, there was always people who came to the basketball court and kicked us off the basketball court as kids, and they're like, yo, we're playing this game, nothing you can do. They just launch our ball, kick it. They were teenagers. I was, 10 or something like that. I told myself when I was young, I never want to be like that. Like, I'm going to be the guy who comes back older and be like, yo, I'm the cool guy. I'm the cool kid. Like, I'm just like you. I'm not going to be rude to you. And I felt I was becoming that. I felt like I in some way betrayed myself. So it was then before that in middle school too. I was into Yu-Gi-Oh. And again, Yu-Gi-Oh, when you got to high school, you had to stop. It wasn't, you would get picked on or whatever. So I still had Yu-Gi-Oh cards, some old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and there was one day after the first period I went to the bathroom. In the bathroom I saw two kids and they were trading Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And again, this is one of those things in high school you just got to keep to yourself, because you don't want to get picked on. You don't want to get to feel like you're the nerd, and you want to talk to girls, you want to girls liking stuff, so you felt like this was not the path to go. So they were doing it in the bathroom, so I was like, oh, you guys play Yu-Gi-Oh? And they're like, yeah, I got these cards. And I'm looking at them like, man, I used to love playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And they're like, hey, you got cards? I'm like, yeah, I got cards. So they're like, hey, we meet here like I think every other day or every day or something, if you want to come trade with us or whatever. So I was like to myself, I was like, I don't know, like, I stopped playing a while ago. But the next day I was like, yo, let me put my cards in my book bag just in case. I'm not gonna be all about it, but it was then that I got back into it. I started being, started doing the things I want. I still have to have it on the low, because I didn't want to get picked on, And again, there was a time at the end of school where they had like this little card club or where I used to go to. And at the time I was in a wrestling team. I was on the wrestling team and I was playing cards with them. And I don't know why, but like 4 or 5 people from the wrestling team came into the class I was at the school and to talk to the teacher or something like that. And they see me and they're like, yo, Antonio, like you play this? Like, and I was like, nah, man, this is some fucking nerd shit. I don't do this fucking shit. I stole these cards. I'm trying to sell them. And the dudes are like, what the fuck? Like, like that time I still couldn't come out. I couldn't express to the world that I was a nerd. And then I met a group of friends outside of school or whatever that evolved into me creating like a type of balance or whatever. And I think it was in senior year I really started to embrace myself, as in, this is the way I am, take it or leave it. I'm a nerd. I've always been a nerd. It doesn't mean I have to be uncool. It doesn't mean I have to hide it from the world. It came to a point where like I had Pokemon cards and like my car and stuff like that because I didn't really give a shit. I felt unhappy. I wanted to be happy. These are things that made me happy, but I still wanted to be socially acceptable. I still wanted to get a girlfriend. I still wanted to be that guy. But I was like, why can't I do both? That's my identity. I'm a nerd. Just get that out the way. Today, I feel like anime, cards, cartoons, just nerd culture in general is so the norm. You see girls, like I say, you see girls do it, you see rappers talk about watching anime. And I personally think it was because of the Marvel videos, I guess, the Marvel movies that brought cartoons, comic books, superheroes into the mainstream. People started watching the movies, maybe got into the comics, or maybe just watched the movies and could understand why it was so enjoyable. so many people will come up to me and try to ask things about the movies because I'm a nerd. I know so much about superheroes and stuff like that, and they had a line of respect for it. It took a long time for me to come out of my skin, and it really upsets me to this day that I've wasted years on trying to be that guy in middle school and high school, trying to be cool, trying to show the world that I was something that I'm not, just for the sake of people not making fun of me and having the girls to like me. Losing my identity as a person, and whether it had to be done, it's rough because I would say it didn't have to be done, but high school and middle school are make it and break it times for a kid. You have these, I don't want to put this in the same category, but you have these shootings and people with disorders because they've been picked on and damaged in high school and middle school. It is a rough time. It is a turning point for a lot of people. It's traumatizing. Some could be great, some could be traumatizing because of things you went through in high school. Kids are ruthless, man. Teenagers are ruthless, pinpoint, accurate. They'll hit you where it hurts because they have nothing to lose. They don't know a filter. They don't know the society of being well to know and karma and respecting others. It's a learning process for a lot of kids, and a lot of kids are assholes about it. So, I'm out of school and stuff like that, and I got a job and blah blah blah. I always told myself, to be the person you wanted to be as a kid. Be the adult that you saw yourself. You never saw yourself as the guy who picked on the You never saw yourself as just really the tough guy. You saw yourself as the guy that people wanted to be around. And being a nerd was that guy. I've been a nerd for so long, and I don't want people to think the definition of nerd. The definition of nerd to me is someone, nerd culture, which is video games, anime, cartoons, all that stuff. It's just nerd culture. I think it's different between a geek and dweeb or whatever. That's a whole nother story. But there's a lot of nerds out there. I think there's been a big movement too for black nerds, because again, it's against the social grain. I don't want to get to stipulations of what people think about black people, but black nerds is a totally different. There's actually even a con for it. There is a group about it on Facebook. There's just a bunch of stuff that's projecting that, hey, society thinks of all black people as this, and it goes against the grain. We are black and we have nerd culture, and it sounds really silly, but it's actually a pretty big important thing. So at the age I am now, of course I'm still a nerd. It's kind of weird if a girl will come over to my house in the beginning and see a whole bunch of games and shit everywhere, and it's something that I thought about at the time, moving into my other room by itself, easing the girl into it. But then I got to the point where I don't really give a shit. There was a girl at a bar too, I think it was Hard Times. I just got done coming from a con about a few days ago, and in the con I got me a necklace with a video game character on it. It's a big ass necklace with big ass like bead, like people pasted a bunch of beads together, whatever, made this big huge 8-bit video game character. And I wore it, I wore it to places. And there was a girl at a bar, fucking ratchet as shit. I'm chilling at the bar, I'm getting drinks and stuff with my boys, and she's like, "What's that?" And I can't remember her exact words, but I was like, it's a video game character. And she's like, "Why are you wearing that?" And I was like, "Why not?" She's like, "Are you trying to pick up girls or something like that?" And I said, yeah, sure. If a girl wants to talk to me or whatever. She's like, don't you approach the girl? And I was like, yeah, I would in certain cases. I was like, I can't remember the conversation we had, but I was like, what is the point behind this conversation? She was trying to really say like, that looks stupid, you shouldn't be wearing it. And then I, at the end of the conversation, was like, if a girl doesn't want to date me or talk to me for this, then I probably don't want to date or talk to her anyway. And I said along the lines like, she's gonna be missing out on some good stuff, so I ain't got nothing to worry about. It shows how people react and how looks come first and all that stuff. I wore that chain everywhere because, one, I was excited that something I loved as a child was made into something wearable, and two, it was kind of like a filter in some cases. Like, if you think it's dorky, if you think it's nerdy, you don't like it, then I probably don't want to talk to you. I probably don't want to be with you. You can not like it, that's fine, I don't care. But to diminish it and be like, oh, that guy plays video games, I don't want to do anything with him, then I really don't give a shit. I probably don't want you in my life. So it's hard to pinpoint when this shift happened though, because I feel like it was just yesterday. And you really don't you really can't understand it too much unless you're a nerd. I wear my nerdism on my shoulder all the time. The way I talk, the way I dress, I wear a whole bunch of video game shirts because that's who the fuck I am. It's my identity that took so many years to mold, so many years to get right. Years ago, I wouldn't talk about watching anime. Years ago, I wouldn't talk about superheroes. Years ago, I wouldn't, before I was an adult, wear nerdy shirts because I would get picked on. And it could be, again, just me growing up and really not giving a shit, because when you grow up, you really start to give a shit less. It's either take it or leave it mentality. You really start being the girl or the guy in high school who wanted to talk to or be talked to by the opposite sex. Because now you're just like, yo, I'm too old for that shit. That is a big, huge factor too. But there's just a big shift and change which I've noticed. I just wonder. I would like to know what it's like now in high school. To know what it's like in middle school. To know what kids are being picked on about now and the social constructs. Like I want to know. It would be weird if me walking into a high school like, hey, just go ahead and talk. I'll just stand on the side just to hear what you guys are saying. High school was a fucking terrifying time, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a few years of it. And a lot of shit happened. But what has changed between now and then? What is socially acceptable? What are kids being picked on now? People still getting picked on comic books, cartoons, anime? Or is it something totally different? I know there'll always be bullies, shit. But it just fascinates me. And I wonder, when my son grows up, how I will deal with it. How I will deal with explaining to him, be yourself. There's going to be times when you go to high school. There's going to be times when you go to middle school. Or you will be picked on for just liking something. Just you enjoying something, you're going to be picked on by other kids. It's your choice of what you do afterwards. You can choose to ignore it. You can choose to change. I'll support you in whatever you do. But my advice to you, and as corny as it always sounds, and you hear it 1,000 times, to be yourself. I wasted a couple of years of my life being someone I wasn't. Trying to project a facade that I didn't want to be. Lying to myself. Telling myself this is the way it's going to have to be, this is the way it's going to be forever, for you to be cool, for you to be popular, for you to be not shunned. You have to be this way. That's not the way I want to teach you. So when my son gets to a point, I think, because I don't think I've ever really had this conversation with my parents. And I think we as in people who are my age, grew up in a great time and generation with technology, social media. I think we grew up in a great template of how things can be and what to do. So when my son gets older, I'll be able to say, look, this is what it was like when I was young. I know times have changed, but let me help you out. I'll always be here to help you. I'll always be here to talk to you. I'll always be here when you need me. There's going to be times and things where you don't enjoy in school. Not every day is going to be a walk in the park. But I'll always be here if you need someone to talk to, because I've been there. I've been on both ends. I've been on trying to be cool, been on the end of being a nerd and being picked on. Trust me, I've been there. So you can talk to me. So I think the time I grew up was actually a really good time. Well, not too long of a podcast. We were looking on 26 minutes just about. Again, it was more of a progression of me being a nerd into now. And when it become more socially acceptable, hopefully this changes the way schools are. Because again, man, school is fucking rough. But on the next podcast, I think I might do something along the lines of, actually, you know what I've been thinking about doing is, I go to work in Sterling, which is about 40 minutes to an hour drive from here. And I found like I can do short podcasts in the car, maybe be a little bit of noise, but maybe I do like real reviews of something, the movies and blah blah blah. And man, I have all these ideas. I just got to implement. I just got to do it the same way I did this podcast for the first time. I just got to do it. I just got to say, you know what? Just get up and do it. Run with it. Run. Fuck, man. I gotta figure out a goddamn outro. Anyway, my name's Antonio Q. Tomasello, aka Chocolate Heat. You can look me up on YouTube at Chocolate Heat, or I think you should put my name in. I think it comes up a lot easier. I'm on Spreaker.com. I gotta get more numbers to be on Spotify. I also gotta create more content to be on Spotify. And of course, I'll be changing my social media and all that stuff, so I'm not gonna give you my Instagram and all that until I really change it and get it over and create a Facebook page. But I'll see you guys later.